6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Eat, Sleep, Cry, and Repeat. Together with me, amazing moms from all over the world. They will introduce themselves one after the other, but the idea of the conversation today about babies' well-being is to compare and discuss the differences between countries. We have here from South America and in New York, Lola, we have here people from Netherlands, Israel, that came actually from Belarus, and even the UK. So the first question I would like to raise is what language you talk at home, and if you talk two languages, tell us a little bit more. For instance, in which language you talk to your spouse, in which language you tell off your kids. Who want to start?
Okay, so my name's Natalie. I'm originally from London and I speak English at home, English to my kids and English to everyone else.
I am Lola. I am originally from Argentina, but I live in New York, and my husband is from Spain. So we speak Spanish at home, even though we have very different accents. And we also talk to our children in Spanish, but then they, of course, talk in English outside our home.
I'm Natalie, and I am currently in New Jersey, but we mainly live in Texas. I speak to my kids in Hebrew. I speak to my spouse in English, and he speaks to our kids in English. So it's a hodgepodge. My kids probably understand, but they don't necessarily speak Hebrew yet. But we'll see what happens.
Who's next?
My name is Lital. I'm from Israel. We speak Hebrew at home, me and my husband. We speak to our daughter in Hebrew. And my mother, her grandmother, speaks to her in Russian.
Lovely. And what about you?
I speak Hebrew.
Lovely. And now the last one.
I'm
Miran.
Miran. I live in the Netherlands. I have a 3-month-old boy, and I speak Hebrew and English to him. My husband speaks Dutch, and we speak English among each other. And he goes to an English speaking preschool. So we're still working it out.
So what would be what would be the thing that you would like to discuss more in terms of raising kids in different countries? What would be the first question you would like to discuss? Give me an idea. Who want to start?
I think we should discuss about how often you spend time outside of the house due to the weather. Obviously, coming from the UK, bringing up my children in the UK, it's very dependent on the weather as how many times you go to the park, go for a walk, or anything like that, compared to Israel, where a lot of your time is spent outside. So I was just wondering how much time that you spend outside of the house. Excuse the.
Okay, who want to discuss that? Who want to start? Yes,
I'll
Natalie.
go first. Because we came from a somewhat similar situation where in New Jersey and New York, everything is obviously dependent on weather. So you have pretty much a short window, and then you go either to your basement or you have to bundle up truly to go outside, depending on the weather and how cold it is and how much cold weather you want to expose your kid to. Where in Texas, you can spend almost all year long outside. Now, some people would think like in Fahrenheit, like 40 degrees is pretty cold. To us, it's still warm because we still have that, I guess, cold-blooded. I don't know what the proper word is, but that's a huge positive for being in Texas. You spend all the time outside. We'll spend like 5 hours outside, going to the park, splash pads, very family oriented. So
How is it in Netherlands?
Well, we have all kinds of weather in the span of a few hours. So, yeah, to be honest, with 3 months, we're still experimenting with how long we can stay outside and with what equipment we need to bring. But yeah, it's a very, very variable weather in the Netherlands. So it can be days of extreme heat, and then the evening is a tropical storm. So we're ready. We're used to be ready for everything. So.
Lola, Argentina is a big country, but right now we live in New York. So, what was the experience of spending time outside or in Argentina yourself and the kids in New York?
Yeah, so both of my children were born in New York. So my experience with children is definitely um, is all 100% in New York. And I would say that the challenge here is not only the weather, that of course it gets very cold in the winter, but it's also a very urban living. So the challenge of finding a place to take your children, a park, nature, green, so they can actually run around and feel that freedom is a lot more challenging when you live in the city. Um, this said, as a sleep expert, this is such an important topic because we need to spend time outside to, get access to fresh air, natural light, not only in the morning but also in the afternoon, because it has a big impact in the sleep quality that we get both in children and adults, and even from the early days of a newborn. We know that the exposure to natural light and fresh air has an impact in the quality of the sleep and also in the way that sleep develops as the baby grows. So it is, I think it's an interesting topic because it's definitely something that as parents we always need to be aware of this. And everyone who has children know that they have a lot of energy and they have to release it, but also we know that natural light is very important for our circadian rhythm development.
Well, I have a question that I would like to present. People ask, can you read the question? Actually, New Jersey and New York might be similar in this case, but the question is about the independency of the kids since they were born in the urban place of New York. What is your answer of that, Lola?
Well, I'm reading the question as you also as you talk, and to be honest, I feel the contrary. I mean, my children are still young; they're 5 and 9 years old, so I'm not sure how is to raise teenagers yet. But at this early age, I feel that living in New York, on the contrary, gives them less independence because New York is a challenging city. Um, it's a big city. It's not like you can allow your child just to go to the store and then get the bread, for example, the fresh bread, or play with the children in the street. Something that, for example, my husband, who's from Spain and he's from the north, this is something that would totally and naturally happen during the summer months, for example. And I think that in New York, that's something that you cannot do, especially when you live in the very center part of the city. So I would say that the children are less independent, at least at this early age. I feel that that freedom is something that you don't give them, give it to
It's a
them very
it's a
easily.
very interesting topic. How is it in Texas?
So
The
I have,
dependency, the ability to play outside with other kids in the street or whatever, if it's possible.
no, so I actually have in addition to that, to what Lola said, like when we moved to New Jersey and had our first child, we both commuted from New Jersey into Manhattan. So our child was there from 7 a.m. to like 6 o'clock p.m. So they were there, our oldest, and she's 5.5 now. As many can probably say, 5 going on 15. She is extremely independent. I don't know whether that's daycare because she was in there from 3 months up. And so like she was there all day, and the daycare was probably 80% commuters. So everyone, was in the same kind of timing. Whereas when we had our second and our third, and we're stay at home now, and we work from home, so our kids see us more. They're a little bit, I guess, like not independent. I don't know if that, obviously it's, every kid is different, so it's like you can't really say it's one or the other, but it's 100% different between our oldest and our second, who's 2, and she definitely makes friends easily, but like not as quickly as my oldest, who will go up to a 12-year-old at 5 and say, hey, can I play with you? Or like, hey, my name is like Sienna, can I, like, completely, has no stranger danger, and she will go up to whoever she wants. And I don't know if that's just the stemming of being in daycare or being in this city environment. We would go to Manhattan on the weekends, like all the time, but she is young, so like can't really say like much. So yeah, and we're at the shore, so where a lot of the houses are close together, and we're constantly like, where is Sienna? And she went to the neighbor's house and just let herself in and is talking to them and playing with the dogs, and it's that independence. So I don't know, it's definitely different for us. But in Texas, yeah, it's like they're constantly on the playground, making new friends, talking, learning new habits, things.
So you prefer Texas or New Jersey? This is what you're saying.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Well,
Not-
for us,
not-
because we like to be outside. That's like a huge
Natalie
draw to
Gold,
them.
the other Natalie, you raised the question. You had the privilege, or I don't know if to call it privilege, but you raised your kids in Israel and in England, and you had the option. You spent 1 year here, another year there. Can you tell the differences between the weather in the UK to the weather in Israel and the impact of it, as you asked?
Well, when I was in the UK, my kids were obviously much younger, but I do feel like there's nothing wrong with like wrapping up your kids in hats and scarves and gloves and going out. And it's really cold, but it doesn't stop you going out. You still go out in the fresh air, get fresh air in their lungs, and they come home, they've been running around, and actually the fresh air knocks them out and they end up sleeping really well that night. Compared to Israel, the weather's really hot, obviously, and the beach atmosphere and environment. The kids are out all day, like where we live, all day. You see the kids walking around, playing football, playing basketball. It's a real outdoors, independent life. So if I was to compare the two, you go outside with the kids in the UK, whereas in Israel the kids go out by themselves. So the weather permits them to go out alone and in the hot weather all the time. It doesn't restrict them from doing anything. In fact, most of the kids complain it's too hot here and they want to be inside. So nothing's ever perfect, especially
Well, I would like to jump to the next subject, which is what was the most surprising or fascinating or funny things you found out in raising kids when you moved to another country, or you didn't know till you experience it by yourself. I would like to start with you, Liran, because you are new in this area in Netherlands, and I would like to share your experience on that. What is
I didn't
unique
really
about the Netherlands?
raise a kid in another country. I
Yeah,
cannot-
but still, you know how it's to raise it in other countries, but you're doing it in Netherlands. What is unique about Netherlands?
Oh, they're very relaxed kind of parenting. If I would have to give them a parenting style. Um, yeah, when big groups of friends come in with all the kids, they're all very well behaved and independent. Um, but the parents are also very yeah they're very much the opposite of helicopter parenting. So you would meet in the park with a big group of friends, and the kids would just independently play with maybe just one father making sure everybody is safe, and that's it. And yeah, it's very. I think coming from Israel, it's a very opposite approaches. So it's very hands off, relaxed parenting here.
I would just like to say the most shocking thing, even now, is how young the children are when they're walking home from school with their backpacks in Israel, and they're like 4 or 5 years old, and you see them with a key. They let themselves in. They make their own lunch, and it still shocks me after all these years. Like, I want to stop the car and say, like, "Are you okay? Do you need help? Where's your mum?" Because it's just alien to see a young child just walking home and being so independent. So for me, in Israel, that was like still after all
Oh,
these
so don't come to the Netherlands. You'll pick them up. The streets are considered very safe here. So
Oh really?
yeah, they do it with bikes.
Oh no. So in the UK, you take them to school, you bring them home from school, you take them to their friends, bring them home from their friends. It's very different.
Lola, you lived in Argentina and you moved to the most busy place in the world, New York. What was the thing that you were surprised or that is so unique about New York that you have to be there to understand that?
Yeah, well, I mean, I would not know to find something specific, but I can tell you that something that I find very particular, I'm not sure if it's about New York or the US in general, is the snack concept. So you always get snack for the children in your bags from a very early age at any time of the day. It's very important that you get snacks for the children. But I think it's very different from maybe what, when I grew up as a child, or even when I visit my in-laws in Spain, you have your meals, you have your breakfast, and then you wait until lunch that can be very late, and then you wait until the afternoon snack. But it's not, and then that's something that we make fun of each other in New York with the other moms. Is like, the snack concept, and you buy the snacks because there's a concept in the supermarket that it's snacks, and and you always have something in your bag, and you get somewhere and you have to have snacks for the children.
Wow, I
I
didn't know
find
that.
that very particular.
Oh my God. Oh my God.
And then what containers are they in? What's the new
There's a whole
container that
market
you?
of snack containers. Yes, Natalie
Yeah.
understands.
100%. It's like I got this like stackable one, and everyone
Yes,
like at the park, like five moms came like, where did you get that? I don't know. Like that's amazing. I'm like, Amazon, Amazon everything.
yes,
And it's
yes. The
Prime
whole
Day, so it's like
sizes too.
yeah.
Well, very interesting. And another question that I would because we have the last 3 minutes, the time goes so fast. I would like to tell you, I would like to ask you, sorry, what is the cost of living? How expensive is to raise your kids in one country if you compared it in the past to another country? Or if you right now know more details about that. And I'm talking about daycares, nannies, food, disposals, to take them out. What is the cost of living in each place? Not according to the statistics that we can read in the internet. I'm talking about you and your day-to-day experiences. Liran, please start.
Um, yeah, I would say in Europe, well, depending how you live, right? I mean, but the cost of living and daycare in particular has become quite high in the Netherlands. So we've seen a sharp rise in the supermarket prices. Everything has become very suddenly more expensive in the last half year or so.
So I would like you to use the next 3 minutes to calculate how much is in US dollars, the cost of living of one baby for months. Okay?
Of the baby?
Yeah, no,
Oh,
not
okay.
your, yeah, cost of living in terms of raising baby. What is the estimated price for average family in Netherlands? Now, your turn,
Well,
Lital.
my baby is still not eating, so it's very,
I,
it's just the diapers and daycare at this point.
I know, but what is the average cost? Lital, how is it in in Israel, actually?
Including the first cost of whatever you buy when it's only born.
Yeah, it's another thing. Yeah, what is the cost? What is the cost of
It's
raising a
like
baby in Israel?
when we counted it, it was like, how do I translate it? I
In
think,
shekels, we will help you. How
yeah,
much is it?
in shekels. It's 15,000 and I think $5,000, something like that. It's the first buy. Everything
The
you
first
need.
purchase was
Yeah,
$5,000. I see.
five.
Okay, Natalie, what are the prices that you have in Texas? I think you've done your purchases in
But
Texas,
you
right?
also have the kindergarten and everything later. Yes, it's not the only thing.
Yeah, but you
Yeah, yeah.
started.
Well, it depends, right? Like, especially like if both parents are working versus one parent, and where you live. So like in New Jersey, and if you're in an inner city, like you can choose. I know a lot of people choose nannies versus daycare because daycare is probably double the price. And then
Well, one second. They can cost you more
it
than nanny.
depends.
If you
It
have
could,
two
Oh
kids,
my goodness! In Israel,
you
or
the
if
have
you
nanny
to,
costs
share a
you much more
nanny.
than a daycare.
Well, it
depends how
depends.
many
You can
kids you
share a
have.
nanny. Yeah. So like some people share nannies if they're in the same condo building, and like it could be like nanny share, it could be or if there's multiple kids, depending of how you break it down. And then, like, do you do cloth diapers, regular diapers? Where do you buy your diapers? Costco versus whatever. There's a big swing, especially also with the formula, breast milk, pumping versus feeding. Like, it's a huge swing. And then daycare, like, where you send them, right? It's all with your budget and how, like, I think here in the US, like, more and more moms are working, and they need this, like, they can't just be expected to have your kid on your desk and take care of your kid while you work, like, right? Like, it's not feasible. And so, like, you need somebody to help or send them to daycare. My kids started at 3 months, all of them. And so it's
You started
expensive.
in 3 months. I know that Liran, son, started at 3 months as well, right? To go to the daycare. And in your case, Lital, what about the
It will
daycare?
be 7.5 months
I see.
because we have 3.5 months leave in Israel, paid leave, and another 2.5 months not paid.
But you still can take
But
this.
yeah, but you can be at home, no problem. You don't get paid.
Guys, I think I can talk to you about so many things. I love this conversation. I think I'm the only one who's not supposed to be in this conversation because to listen to you, it's more important than me talking. Anyway, but I promise to the people it's going to be 20 minutes. We're trying to stick to 20 minutes. I would like to thank each one of you for taking your time and participating this call. Again, we will meet next week. I have no idea what is the subject that we're going to talk of next week. I have some people I would love to host. I'll talk to you guys and see you next week. And really, again, thank you for your time. Raise your kids. I wanted to ask you another question, but we won't have time. If you had the chance to raise your kids in another country, would you do that? And which country would be that country? It's very interesting
Country
question.
with the longest paid maternity leave. That's the only
Where?
answer.
Where?
That's
The lo-
Russia. I don't recommend.
Okay, the second longest paid maternity leave
I
and
think
paternity leave.
it's I think it's Denmark. I'm not sure. Anyway,
Canada, by the way, Canada.
maybe Canada. So thank you for your time again, and talk to you soon. I really appreciate your time. Bye bye.